built a solopreneur business up to 1.6 million euros in revenue. That's probably increased now. How the hell that happened?
I would say don't do it.
And we're going to find out why. Today I'm joined by a mobile marketing expert with 10 plus years in gaming. He's globally launched 52 games and profitably managed over 48 million euros in user acquisition spend. Founder of 2.5 Gamers podcast, the biggest UA gaming podcast, and now consults for studios worldwide on launch strategy, performance marketing, and creative testing.
Usually when you have a plan B, you're kind of focusing on something that, what if this won't work? Then I have this backup plan. It sets you up for a failure like from the get-go. You just need to believe like this is gonna work, and it's gonna work. There's no other way.
We talked about how he built a one-person, 7-figure consulting business and a behind-the-scenes into the world of user acquisition. You said once, I treat UA budgets like my own money. Why did you say that?
It's your own money and you invested money for some reason. And the reason is you need to see the money back. I was in that position, and every time I invested something and I got it back, I reinvested. That's how I could see my business grow.
From someone who understands leverage to its core, this episode's guest and founder of 2.5 Gamers, Matej Lancaric. Matej, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, you've been interviewed many times about UA, I'm sure. Today's podcast, I want to go a bit different, talk a bit more about the solopreneur journey. And this is an article you wrote in April, and you had a very nice stat. So you built a solopreneur business up to 1.6 million euros in revenue. That's probably increased now. So for everyone at home, I want to just dig in to how the hell that happened and just kind of advice for other people looking to do the same, especially in the games industry where it's kind of becoming more common.
Yeah, I would say don't do it.
And we're going to find out why.
Yeah, exactly.
Take me back to 2020 when you started your company. Like, what was the state of mind? Did you have a backup plan? Like, what was happening?
So I think this even goes back to when I started my career in gaming in general, because I started in 2014. I started working at Pixel Federation, and I was there for 5 years. And basically, when I was there, I started kind of posting more and more articles and blogs, which started happening around 2016. And I posted about soft launch, and suddenly people started reaching out like, hey, would you be able to help us with soft launch? Like, well, why not? So then I started kind of doing this on the side as a side hustle, and then the side hustle kind of became my primary job because I was making way more money on the side than I was doing on my primary job. It's like, then kind of ask myself like, what do I want to do? And then I said, well, life is short. Let's try something else. And never came back, because usually when you have a plan B, it's very misleading. It's just like you're kind of focusing on something that, what if this won't work? Then I have this backup plan. But that sets you up for a failure like from the get-go. It's just that's bullshit, honestly. If you want to go for something, then you just need to believe like this is going to work, and it's going to work. There's no other way. So you will make it work. Period. Full stop right there.
I'm resonating with that because my dad is kind of that person on the shoulder where I started my business around April last year. And he said, just stay as a contractor a little bit. Just do a little bit more just in case something goes wrong. And it's funny, the same conversation's happening now where hopefully my brother's employer doesn't watch this, but essentially my brother, I've hired him on last year, but I have a second brother who's also leaving his job to join mine. So he had the same conversation. He's getting good money. Why don't you stay longer and then help Harry on the side? But I'm like, I need it all in. And
yeah,
it's just, there's a very big difference of 100% and just not 100%. It's like, it's almost like you kind of have to, when you have a small business, to be all in, right?
No, because you have different priorities. But then if it's 100%, like you will give everything to this job. There's nothing else. It's like if you have all these like different things, like my main job. I was like, but the thing is, like, I could do my job for years instead of 8 hours per day, I could do it in 3 hours per day. But instead of just watching YouTube videos, like, like I can actually learn and work with different companies to just grow, and then actually help other companies, right? So, but then eventually that became the main job. So you see the priorities, right, like shifted from something to something different, and like that's what happens always when you have so many different things. It's just like, okay, where's the focus? Where's the
Yeah.
focus?
And you need to just pull the trigger.
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
So let's get tactical. I want to so you started sooner than I expected. So 2016, you were doing consulting, but at least when I was reading the article, I think 2020 was a big year, from my understanding. So yeah, what happened that year?
Yeah, I kind of shifted all the like Slovakian bullshit side jobs away because it's just not enough
So these are
money.
clients based there. So you've
Some of
kind
the
of
yeah, yes, it was kind of like,
maybe it might be worth Mate for people at home. Like, what were you offering then? Maybe is that different what you're offering now? Just a quick high level.
yeah, it's the same thing. So I work on the UA side. So I manage campaigns. When there's no internal team. Then I kind of do the strategic advisory when there is an internal team. So I work with them, helping. They're doing the heavy lifting though. And then I have creatives as motion designers, so a creative team, and then also build recently a tool for playables and build a playable team. So it's kind of like the creative team that I have on the side is very important in the business, which I did have back then, but it's like one person. Now it's like 10 or actually 13 if I count the playable team.
So they're not employees; they're a team that you subcontract when you need them.
There's kind of like on the side is a team of contractors that mainly work with me, but they have some other things that they can do. I mean, I don't care. Yeah. So like, look, guys, this is something that few games that we are actually now creating videos for. There you go. Let's do that. And then it's like, yeah, sure, priorities. But it's, if there is nothing, there's like, yeah, you know what, do whatever.
Yeah, similar model to how I started. Like, I didn't want to hire someone full time because it's just the fear of like, okay, now he depends on me, and it's the worst thing when you know someone's got 8 hours in a day, and you're like, I just do not have 8 hours of work today, and you start to feel guilty, and you don't want that.
You know, also I don't really want to actually manage people and like every day or every week it's like, hey, 101 is like, hey, you know, like, are you happy? What are your feelings? I mean, honestly, it's
I
very
might
important.
disagree with you here because I watched. I have a question for this
Okay.
because I was just listening to the podcast you did last year around the same topic on the deconstructor of fun, and you were both talking about one-to-ones, and I was watching it, and I'm actually in that stage now because I have 3 full-time staff. So I have my executive assistant who manages all the podcasts. I have my younger brother, and then I also have Frank who does all the writing. And I've noticed on the one-to-ones they have agendas, and with my younger brother, because it's got a weird dynamic, like he's my younger brother, and I feel like, I see him in the house, but he's the only one I didn't have a one-to-one. And then literally we had a situation where 6 weeks went past and we were just so misaligned. Like, he was doing something and he was doing it because I said so, not because the client needed it. And I was like, no, the client's needs is obviously paramount. And for me, that was missed in a one-to-one. So in my head, there's 2 options here. Don't hire people who don't know what they're doing. But then it's like, well, I can't afford to pay, someone 4 or 5 grand a month who's an expert. Yet I want to train them. So I guess I think it depends, I guess. But like, it's interesting where
it depends, but then it's kind of, it's called communication rather than just one-on-one only. Like, if you talk, it doesn't really need to be like like regular one-on-one. Just talk about priorities. I talk to the guys like almost on a daily basis because, yes, of course, like if I say this is the brief and bye, see you in few weeks, and then maybe like something changes and then I don't tell them, it's like, oh well, that's my problem.
Can we be a bit tactical here? So is this on Slack? Are you doing calls? Are you doing huddles? Like, how does this look like?
Honestly, I hate calls. So it's all written. It's every time I can avoid calls, I avoid calls. It's just written
What do you
communication.
think about looms? I love me a loom.
And I can do huddles. I can't just record stuff. It's just, I mean, I recording.
Really?
Yeah, I record stuff. Like, I record podcasts every week, 3 times a week.
In my head, like, a loom is really powerful for what you do, right? Because you can just look at what you're doing. But you're saying you're not using looms in communication.
We don't even use Slack. It's either like WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. I don't care. That's it. That's it. I mean, it's as weird as it sounds. It's just I'm kind of crazy person, obviously, but I work with people that I trust like 500%. And what the crazy thing about this is, like, sometimes I feel like they're living in my head, which every time, like, we work together for a long time, and I know them. That's why we work together, and I know them for a long time. So every time there is like a brief or there's a creative that needs to be done, I write the brief and like, look guys, like this is how it should look like. And it's almost really scary when I actually see the output and the final video. It's exactly what I'd imagined, and you can't get this with everybody.
So if you gave that brief to 10 people, from my understanding, the team that you have, they don't need as much information as the other people. So like that is what can afford the fact that so my head, this works at your current scale, but if you needed like 5 of those teams, then something had to change.
Most probably, or I just hire like those people that I know again for a long time that are on the same page as I am. But yeah, of course, like if I would need to scale myself, well, obviously I need to clone myself first. But if I need to scale the creative team, yeah, they most probably they would need to be additional layer of communication or something, which I don't really like. So I most probably won't scale the team. I would rather not scale.
Maybe it's good to get it out there. Like, what's the plan? Because one on the outside could be like, he's made it, solopreneur, control of your own time. You know, we've got 7 figures revenue numbers, right? Like, living the dream. Like, why go bigger? Is there plans to go bigger, or like, where are we going?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think I need to go bigger, and I don't really want to go bigger because then I think we had this discussion with Jakub, my co-host on 2.5 Gamers. We do all these like the dad's cabins with kids, and he's like, okay, so what keeping you for like go from here to 5 million a year? And it's like, well, that's a fair question. Well, I would need to either just clone myself, which is not possible, or B, just go an agency way, which I don't want because of like all the communication bullshit around it, or C, it's just diversify outside of games and start investing in different basically activities. And then on the other hand, I know like I can do, and I'm kind of investing a little bit more in the content production now on my end, and the Substack and everything. It's growing like crazy. So
Yeah, because you have a very successful. I'm guessing there's very few more successful paid Substacks in the games industry right now. Like, it's huge.
thank you very much. Yeah, it's 20,000 people, which is insane. Also, not all of them are paid. I mean, if 20,000 paid, yeah, that would be the 5 mil.
Give it time.
That would be the
But
5
I'm
mil.
just
Yeah.
saying, like, it's
Yeah.
like I've seen a few different Substacks. Like, I've never seen those numbers.
It's really really insane. So now I think I had like 50K in the newsletter. Now it's 70. So it's kind of like it's growing still like month by month, and I think that can grow quite more. And also on the podcast side and all, like, so like the content side of things, that's definitely scalable.
Yeah, like the monetizing, maybe something for me to give some insight. Like, I've spoken to a few people who run podcasts, and our niche, we can get sponsors for like 100 to 200K a year because we can include the newsletter, LinkedIn content. Like, they sponsor everything, and especially in your niche, like the topics you talk about, B2B, baby. Like, are you thinking about that? Is that a plan? I'm curious.
It's already started to happen like early this year, and that's also something that's quite scalable. So like all like that kind of like the content arm of things, it's where I think it's gonna grow even more. So that can definitely help with the scaling. Like honestly, but on the UA side and the creatives and like the actual like executive side, like, or execution side, that's what I want to do still mainly. But I'm not gonna just grow the team because, well, I mean I could, but what's the point? I mean, I have
You
enough
have a
money.
leverage
I
right
have
here.
enough
Like, why
money.
not?
I have enough money, and I also have 3.5 years old daughter, which is way more important than everything else. so, so I wouldn't sacrifice spending more time of working than just seeing her grow and just spending time with her, because that's insane. I mean, that's not even a trade off. Like it's like that's no way.
Like, my motto is make money, make babies, and you've done it. You're the one of the first guests. Like, you're in that stage, baby. You're making the money now. You made the babies, and you made enough money to spend more time with the baby. And I'm
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like that's the kind of the level where I'm kind of fortunate enough to be at like right now. But what other people just don't see, it's just it took me like 8 years to actually get where I am. So there are no shortcuts basically.
okay. Let's talk about the lack of shortcuts. So, year one, let's say we're talking to a consultant. They're like, Mate, I've got these skills. I'm being a career man, been a career woman. I want to go start contracting. So, like, how did you get your first clients, and would you recommend that to someone else?
Yeah, so my first clients was definitely from the article that I posted on pocketgamer.biz, and that was 2016. Until this day, I still get leads from there, from that article, which is like insane, insane. But then, yeah, it was kind of the combination of talks, the conferences, and content again, like writing and just speaking.
Where were you writing content back then?
Yeah, it's just
Where were you writing
where
content?
it's just pocketgamer.biz or randomly wherever, like different sites. And I created my own blog, and then I started posting it there. But then, yeah, I think the improvement was when I started Substack, basically, because then I was like, okay, well, this can grow. And then I was like, oh, wait a second, I can actually get a paid section as well. So
Would you recommend this to someone starting off?
100%. 100%. It's like I always say, like, content is the way to go. I mean, honestly, nothing else. Like, I don't believe, well, not believe, but I'm a terrible salesperson. I can talk and share everything that I'm doing on a daily basis, and I will share all the numbers, all the processes, everything, basically. So people can understand, learn, and they can do it on their end. But what I'm doing, even if I say like this, follow these steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's not going to be exactly the same if 10 other people do it. It's just going to be different still. I've seen it a million times before, and it's going to just keep happening. So even if I say like this is exactly what I'm doing, that's why I'm sharing all the numbers and all the soft launch processes and the creative stuff and everything, because I want people to just try, and then and anyway, like they just ask questions because it's different for them.
Yeah, no, I have the same philosophy, right? I share usually the high level of what to do, and kind of my sales process. I fell into it, but it works so well. It is literally like we share origin stories, so intros on the call, and then I basically say, "What are you doing right now?" And then they tell me their biz dev strategy, and then I say, "Okay, this is what I would do straight away. Like you're not going to any conferences. Why? You're not doing this, Y, Z. Like why you're not sending connection requests? That's free." And then I'm like, all right, now I'm just going to show you exactly what I do for my clients and what I would do for you. And if you want help with execution, happy days. If not, here's the step by step and please enjoy. And I found it so nice because it's never a no. It's just like, I'm not ready to afford you yet. I'm like, okay, enjoy. Bye bye. And it's so good. I signed 2 clients from pitches that they said no because they went and told someone else in the taxi while at GDC. And for me, it was like, oh, amazing. Like the process of just sharing exactly what you would do, it just drops those barriers and it really, really helps. So I think that's something for people at home. Just like you need to not hide things behind the curtain and they have to pay you to find out if you're good or not, right? I think people really miss that trick.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, oh my god, like it's every time when someone says, hey, like this is guaranteed, you should do this, like nothing is guaranteed, first of all. Second of all, oh, I can't tell you because that's secret, but if you pay, I will tell you. Why? What the hell are you?
It's all in the execution.
Yeah,
Like
it's like,
ideas,
come
it's
on.
so easy.
Yeah, it's just like, look, you do this, you will get better, and then you will need someone else's help, which is fine. If it's not me, that's okay. If it's someone else, fine. You just try it on your side. If it works, perfect for you, awesome. If it doesn't work, you will get help, but at least you know how it works, and then you understand, and then you can ask for help. It's fine. It's just like, you can't even understand like how many times we got this question, or not question, just request from like the industry people, like, hey guys, stop telling all the secrets on the podcasts. You're ruining my job because you're spilling all the beans. It's like, what are you talking about?
Why do you think has that a legit had a impact or are they just afraid of an imaginary impact?
I think that's imaginary impact.
Wow. Yeah.
It's just
So they
like,
just
come on, that's my leverage. Like, oh, what leverage are you talking about? If this is your leverage, like, yeah, then you're not like a proper person, and you're not even a nice person at the same time. Like, come on.
yeah, 100%. Like for me, where at least like I used to be recruiting for Unity developers in the Nordics, and honestly, you could get a B player Unity developer if the soft skills were perfect. They're never leaving that job. It was literally when it came to it, the higher you go into a business in licensing games, it was all soft skills, and it blew my mind. So like if your leverage is how fast you code, it's not that deep to find someone else.
So yeah, like that's all like the knowledge sharing and like the willingness to share, like that's, I think that's very very key. And also what you mentioned, that just going to conferences and just meet people and talk to people, like that's also like one of the strongest things you can do.
I'm very curious. So I take pride in my conference strategy. I feel like I've nailed it now. Like it's working. And I average like one or so clients every conference. But you said on that podcast I listened to before our call today, like you did a week where you went 3 different conferences, like you went to Nordic and then AppsFlyer. So how do you approach conferences? Like, let's talk about it from a business development perspective.
I can tell you, I just went back from Singapore. I went to Singapore Play Ventures event, then I flew to Tokyo right after, and then I spent 2 days at home, and then flew to Hamburg and back. So also three different kind of,
Fresh.
yeah, three different kind of things. It's just from my perspective, like people ask me this all the time, like what's the goal? I don't have a goal. I have zero goals. I just want to talk to people and meet people at different events during the conference. It's always the start. Like if you know more people, it's always better, because then it's like, oh wait a second, I know, like I have this UI problem. Who do I talk to? Oh wait a second, I know, I met this guy, crazy idiot at the conference. Oh Matej, oh I should ask, and and that's it. It's easy as that. I'm not there to sell. I usually have a talk which helps with like the exposure and sharing knowledge, and then like I meet more people obviously after the talk. So like that's it. But that's it. I'm not selling.
So the plan is, let's reverse engineer, get a talk. I think that's a big part as well. I've noticed last year I didn't have pretty much any talks apart from one accidental one. This year, having the talks,
Game changer.
you it's a bit of a status change, and you can feel it in conversations. Like I can say the exact same thing, but because they know that you're talking on that subject, it's just like, it's actually, I don't know if you've noticed this, but if someone's first language isn't English, wow, like you can say the exact same thing, but they just, you need something to hook their attention, I've noticed. Like, and if you're speaking, then I feel like they're actually internalizing what you're saying, because they're in conference mode. They're like, okay, is this person worth my time or not? Yeah, it's a big change, but I don't want to discourage anyone going to a conference. It's like, if you can get a talk, amazing. And also, some people overcomplicate getting a talk. The best way I found, maybe you can speak on this, is literally just go to the founder, like, hey, great event. Like when you go to the conference for the first time, what's your speaker looking like for next year? I can speak about this topic. Like, okay, that's typically been my strategy.
Easy as that. I mean, now I know a lot of different founders of different conferences, but by now, I mean, after some time in the industry, yeah. So it's definitely easy. But yeah, this is exactly what I do, or what I've done before. Is like first talk at the MAU, which is the mobile apps unlocked conference in Vegas, which is like the biggest mobile marketing conference. I was there for first time, and then I was like, I found Adam, who was the founder. I was like, man, like I can actually speak exactly what you just said. Like I can actually speak about this. I have saw this article, these talks, these talks. Let's do it next year. Okay, done. And since then, every year I'm speaker there. Every year, 7 time in a row. I mean, like one discussion, nothing else. Simple as that. It's very simple. So yeah, I mean, I would encourage everybody just to do this. Obviously, you need to be in the field for some time, so you know what they're talking
Or have
about.
something to point to. Like,
Exactly.
you could write, if you are, I think the bar for a speaker is actually is lower than people think. Like if you just have some story as well, even if you're not the most expert, if you have a cool story that you went from X to Y in a short amount of time, or like I've seen more recently, like people explaining failures as a part of a talk. Well, hey, you can even fail and then become a speaker, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, it's not. It's still, I think my main motivation for like become a speaker back then was just I saw all the talk is vague. It's like, where are the numbers? Why are nobody's talking?
Yeah, I don't. I have a. I'm doing conferences now. I've done 8 events, and I'm going to be organizing a. I'm organizing a conference in Helsinki, so I'm looking at venues. And when I did my speakers, I was like, okay, they're going to be 15 to 20 minutes, and it has to be tactical. And I've noticed, there's some conferences, not all of them, like it's a bit of pay to play usually, or it's like they're going to sell a service, and fair play to them, do what you got to do. But yeah, especially if it's like my event, I want the talk to be practical and tactical. And then what you tend to find, like people aren't professional speakers by accident. So like some people just leave the good parts at the end, or they forget to mention like little stuff like that. Oh, actually, I went on a bit of a ramble there, but you've done a lot of talks. I'm curious, like if you had to give a talk, like what's the 3 tips for someone giving a talk at a conference?
I told this to Felix because he was pretty nervous when like he started talking, and it's like, oh, I need to do all the prep and whatever else. And like, man, I tried to do preps before, like speaker notes and whatever else. That made me more nervous than like no speaker notes and no prep, because every time I talk about the topic, I prepare the presentation. If someone else preparing the presentation for me, like that's terrible, right? So it's like it's quite hard. But if I do the presentation on my own, I already know what I'm talking about. And like prepping and just trying to rehearse and like do all this like stuff all over again makes me more nervous than I should be. So, and I've done it before and it didn't really help. So honestly, maybe okay, fine, try for yourself once or twice, but don't overdo it. It's just for me, I know what I'm talking about. It doesn't really need to be A, B, C, D. It can be whatever. And I have one talk, and if I speak in different places, one talk, it's always different. It's always different. It's like the topic is the same, slides are the same, but I always talk about something else. So no guidelines, just kind of thinking about what I'm going to talk about. Nothing.
I think the main reason is the idea, maybe, because you're speaking about something you live and breathe every day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I can, say, oh, let's have can you have a talk in 30 minutes? I mean, like, what's the topic here? Okay, fine. Either I already done it before, or I've just kind of, I can ramble for some.
I think that's the key part, honestly. Like, I've seen if you're given a talk about something you're not used to and you don't prep, that is like high school. It's the most scary thing because it's about something not only you don't care about, but you also like you've spent so little time thinking about. That's why I've always I saw someone mention that recently. It's like the reason high school public speaking is literally the worst setup because it's about something you don't care about with people you don't care about, and it's like last minute. It's like, of course, it's horrible. So but when you're speaking in a normal corporate world, it's usually about stuff you've been talking about on calls for years.
Exactly. That's pretty much it, right? So you have a topic, creative testing, trends, whatever else, and even the podcast is the same thing, right? When we started, we usually had like 2 hours, 3 hours preparations for each episode. Now it's like, okay, you know what? This is the game we're talking about. Okay, let's do it in 2 hours. Fine. The only thing is we actually need to play the game, so that's like the the longest prep we need to do. But still, I already know what I'm gonna talk about. I just need like look into different dashboards and different external tools, and that's it. No 3-4 hours. So yeah, I mean, it gets better with experience, obviously. So
Yeah, for sure. I think one tip that I'd share is I've done the same talk now, and the first time when I rehearsed it, the advice I was given and it really helped was if you're going to rehearse it, you're not allowed to stop. So when you press start, you just continue until you finish the talk, no stopping, and then you only are testing for the amount of time it took. And then I noticed, like the first time I did it, it was like 20 minutes, and it was a 15-minute talk. I was like, okay. And then I did it a second time, it went to 16 minutes, and I did it one more, and then it was good. I was like, okay. And then that was my prep. But if you do the rehearsal, I've noticed, and you stop at like 4 minutes, and then you go again and again and again, that's where the energy, the heartbeat goes up. It's not fun.
yeah, it's not fun. And then you're just in the death spiral all the time. It's just like, oh my god, like it's stop, yes, start again. So yeah, but it's I found it like pretty fun when you stand on the stage. Okay, taking a step back. I don't really like to stand on the stage and just be like all the eyeballs on me. But I
Why
mean,
do you do it so often, huh?
because it's part of the job, man. It's part of the job. It needs to be done, and I like sharing things, right? So I really like sharing stuff. And that's all the unnecessary part. Like everybody's staring at me. Like this is way better. It also like the like recording podcast. Like there's no live audience, so there's no kind of judgment, and everybody judges you. Everybody judges you on the stage. Oh my god. Even I judge first the the speakers. So I mean,
It's human nature, right?
exactly, yeah, exactly. And
Sweet.
yes, like I'm always trying to do as much as I can, and when others are not doing the same, I'm just so yeah. That's why I'm very not happy to be on the stage. But then after the talk is done and everybody's like, oh my god, this was actually very useful. So it's like
the dopamine cycle continues. I want to spend a part of the podcast because we kind of have a similar situation where I started as a solopreneur. I am going the agency route. I was deciding at one point, it was a crossroads, what should I do? And I've gone the agency route, so I'm scaling that way. And in your article, you wrote a few things which stood out to me. So I just wanted to ask you questions and then basically treat this as free consulting for me. And then maybe people at home will already. So like you mentioned, no website until after 500,000 in revenue. So I've just recently invested in a website, and the best benefit I've had from it so far is someone did a cold outreach because I had a website for a tool, and now it's like changed my life. So it's funny enough, that's been the main benefit so far. But I want to hear from you, like, why did you make that decision? Why no website until after that certain
Because
number?
it's not necessary. I mean, you have your LinkedIn profile, you have everything there. You can treat that as a website, basically. It's
Yeah,
true.
which I did until I had one. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's resume, right? So it's CV, and that's it. I didn't have even like the proper deck that I shared is always written in the email. It was absolutely
I still have
unprofessional.
a Google Doc.
Yeah, about Google. Well, okay. Well, I now have like a proper deck that looks like semi-professional. But it's still it was very random because I don't think like that matters that much, especially for the companies that I worked with. Of course, if I want to work with like a huge company, then it needs to look professional, and like it's like website and all the testimonials and reviews and all the fun. Like,
I think they just have that checkbox criteria, right? Like if you're over a certain size, they don't want to have a situation where the boss goes, "Who do we send money to? Did they have a website? You're under punishment now." But if you're just speaking with the founder of a SMA, then you don't have that. They're just looking at you, right?
exactly. And then I mean I'm mostly working with small to mid-sized companies, and I do work with the big ones as well. But
You
like
said that by choice. Can you share for people why?
yeah, because if you rely on one big company and you're done, or they are done with you, then you're fucked, and that happens all the time. So you
Happened
need
to
to
you, right?
a million times, and it's gonna happen to me again like a million times more, because that's how it works. I mean, that's life of the consultant. I mean, you're everybody. It's like as soon as they're done with you, like you're the first one that gets fired. It's always, which is tough, but still. So you have one big client, and you're done. Then what else? Well, so then you need to have like a few either small ones or a few mid size, so you're safer. It's not always safe because it can happen. Just you lose still 30, 40, 50% of the revenue, but still you have the other 50%. So at least you have something. So it's kind of maybe more work, but it's way safer for you to maintain this if you had just one big one. It's just, and it's way more sustainable.
I've spoke to someone recently she's a fractional PR manager, and she has two big clients, and one of them's a big part of the revenue. And I just imagined this goes into a second question actually, but the amount of work for that big client is actually quite a lot. It's probably like more than half the week. So if you lost that client, whoa, like that's big deal. So like it's almost you really need to set that internal rule that I'm not going to be owned by a client, right?
Yeah, because then you could be just working for them full time or part time. It's like it's the same thing. I mean, it's not really like the main point of the consulting. So you have
What is the main point of consulting? Because I feel like from the outside looking in, you set really good boundaries, and I don't think you have much scope creep when someone hires you. And at least for like in my business, it's like, oh, could we do one more post? Or could you do this last minute? Or can we hop on a call to talk about this? I'm getting better with that, but at some point I'm like, it makes sense why they're asking that. Okay, I'll do it, but then it adds up, right? So how do you avoid like that kind of boundary being broken?
I don't. I just sometimes set those boundaries, and I say, look, I'm not the full time employee, so I can't really reply your answer questions like in a second. It's just not going to work like that. And some people do understand that, some people don't. And those that don't, well, we don't work together. It's like it's as simple as that. Because like it's really create like a lot of additional work, which is not necessary. I don't have the time to manage this kind of political, not political, but kind of like the additional
It's not
work
based on
that's
the deliverable, right? It's based on
exactly.
something
I
else.
mean, which I don't want to say like I'm not doing extra stuff which I do almost all the time. It's just there are boundaries, and they should be. And if someone doesn't really understand, like, it's because they're kind of like treating you, if they're treating you as a full-time employee, that's not right. That's not right. And you need to be very very vocal about it, because if you're not,
How would you do it? Because there's probably a good way and a bad way.
it's a way like, hey guys, like, this is too much for me, and like, I do everything for you within these boundaries, and you're overstepping, which I can do this one time, but please next time be mindful that I have life and you have
Yeah.
life as well. This is it, and I do everything for you anytime. Just not like this. Also, can we hop on the call? We can, but ideally I have a 24-hour buffer so I can actually manage my time, because I can't do like, hey, can we go hop on a call now? No. I mean, I have a time scheduled on a daily basis, and if you want to call, I mean, it's fine. I will have the call if I have the time during the day, but please let me know in advance. I mean, that's a very simple ask, and people actually understand that.
Yeah. Because they would expect that too from you.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It just, I treat people exactly how I want to be treated, and that's it. Like, that's very simple rule.
So, in terms of your funnel, I'm very interested. So, you've got a few ways where clients could, in theory, come to you. So, you got the podcast, you have the Substack, you have your LinkedIn, you have conferences, and I'm guessing word of mouth. Plus, you got that pocket game article, and also all the other articles. So, that's quite a few ways of getting clients. I'm curious, like, if you had to only keep two, which one are you keeping?
Substack and conferences.
Mm. Why the So no, you would, let's say, delete the LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn. Let's say LinkedIn over Substack. Like, which one would you pick?
Maybe I would pick LinkedIn over Substack, because I was on LinkedIn very early on, and I think it's just my 13th year or something. So I was very active there. But that's why I have all of them. It's just in different times there's a different kind of priority, and I still keep my LinkedIn very up to date, but I still also post more articles, and we also do a lot of podcasts. And again, I still do conferences. So it's like it's a different audience and a different type of communication. So it would be very hard to kind of pick two, but I would go maybe, like, the conferences. That's 100% something which I started with, and I wouldn't really.
Yeah, I think I would have conferences number one for me too.
And the podcast is doing well. It's really like people start to notice us. It's amazing. It's really, I mean, it's a lot of fun as well.
I think it's really good. It's really hard to measure, but I've noticed 100%. It builds a lot of trust. So any other time where they could have met you in person or they might see a post, I've had someone message me and he was kind enough to tell why he was working with me. He's like, I listened to a podcast of you. You seem like a nice guy, and that's why I want to work with you because I feel like I trust you. So, like the trust building of sharing on a podcast, you might not get a direct client. It does happen, but I think the intangible benefit of just putting yourself out there is massive.
Yeah, it is because not everybody can do that, and people still don't understand, like, or doesn't realize like how hard it is. It's pretty hard, and just not only talk but actually make sense like while talking, and sharing on at the same time as much as you can. So it's like all of these free, and then the post production. We don't even go there. But since then, it's fine. It's just, yeah, I'm just, of course, like those are rare cases. But even in those rare cases, I can't really expect anyone else to do this but me. This is my responsibility.
I'll challenge you. You can. It's going to cost the price.
Sure, but I don't want to anyone else to do it, because of, yeah, of course I can pay anyone, but this is just my responsibility. So there you go.
That's weird. For me, it's like, well, there's someone who, if you mapped out what you did, someone would be willing to do it and more than happy to do it.
I've 100%.
But you're not. I don't feel like you're going to do that.
No, no, most probably no.
Do you enjoy it?
I
Do you
do.
enjoy
Yeah,
the?
I do, because you learn a lot of new skills while do this. And I work with different AI tools now. I can do well. I work with with transcripts, so I can transform that into articles afterwards. And I try and kind of like, this is all. And I couldn't really kind of process all of this before, because I didn't even know.
AI's gone really good in
Yeah,
the
I
last year.
didn't
Yeah.
even know. So I do all of this, and suddenly, like, with while doing all the post production, you know how many ideas come to my mind for content? It's just insane. And if I don't do it, where are the ideas coming from? Like,
I mean, I have the solution. You make a custom GBT, and that person puts it in there, and then as a human, they check it, and then they serve you the ideas. But that will take time to set up, but it's possible.
it's, I mean, if of course it's possible, but you know, my mind works very differently. Very
No,
different.
and there's no right or wrong. I was just
I know,
curious
but yeah,
to where that was
that's
coming.
good. It's good. It's good because I
Yeah.
look. I always ask people like where they get the inspiration from, because I'm sometimes I'm just walking around like listening to whatever podcast. I don't even actually listen. It's just like some voices. What? Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like, oh, fuck, this is amazing. So write all the different ideas. That's why like, where do you get ideas? For example, you like, where do you get ideas for like anything, content?
For me, it's podcast is a big one. I actually have a keep note, so I write all my ideas for posts. So I'm gonna scan them now and have a look. So I got that was a Joe Rogan podcast. That was origin story of moving to Cyprus. I think I just remembered. I haven't spoken about that yet. Um, yeah, a few more Homozy podcasts, YouTube video, and then LinkedIn posts.
So that's good. Yeah. So it's open eyes and ears, and just while kind of enjoying the life, which is good.
Yeah, I might be missing because I did it 3 months after I went on someone else's podcast and I got the transcript from YouTube. And then I looked at the ideas and I was like, oh, there's like 5 things I've never spoken about before. I was like, I need to add that to my flow now.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, exactly. Because then, yeah, I also work with the transcript for the episode descriptions and everything, and she's like, oh, wait a second, like this is very important, very interesting. So I just take that bit and then just kind of work with it. Because then I have like 10 articles, kind of like 70-80% ready, and because like ideas just come into my mind as soon as I have the idea, like, I need to write about it. And I don't really feel like I need to post that idea or article right away. I just keep it in the buffer, so if the time is right, and when the time is right, and there's always the time. So I was like, oh, now. And I just kind of edit and then added the 20% missing piece, and then boom, and then we go. And I have more of these, and it's working so well.
I'm a bit not struggling, but I'm at a weird spot where I have a newsletter. So anyone who's listened to the podcast or clicked it, it's like 1,200 people, and they're all gaming professionals. And at the start, I was doing a weekly newsletter. It was just an email, just some advice, right? And then it got to a point where I had like 8 clients. I had all this stuff. I had my own content. I was like, I can't. So now it's kind of every time I release a podcast or announce something, they send in an email. But I'm definitely missing a trick because all my podcast transcripts can easily become nice blogs for the website and the newsletter. But it's just my body doesn't want to do it.
I know, because it's hard. I know exactly, because I had the newsletter idea in my drawer for 3 years. I was like, I don't have the time, blah blah blah. And then I do it every week since I started, and it's like 167th kind of newsletter
Three
since,
years plus.
yeah, since the very beginning. And it's just about the how you structure it, because if I had the structure of like very long form articles or something, which I need to do it every week, it's just impossible. It's impossible to do. So you need to have the like at least like a section which you can write every week, and it can be just, yeah, like a tip or whatever, just something which is can change a lot for different people. It doesn't really need to be long. It's just very tactical. That's it. And then you have like multiple of sections that you can write in different topic, whatever, like different.
Oh, interesting. So you have a repeatable modular process, and then a part of that you decide what to write, but the rest is kind of like a regular cadence where there's like what's happening in the podcast world.
So I have the weekly brutally honest newsletter. Just is there's a tip of the week. There's a, I call it a drink talk at the very beginning. Whatever is happening at like conferences, wherever traveling. What's a tip of the week is UA always. There is also a part where there is a talk about the podcast. There's also part about AI, and then there is a part which is called a diary of dancing unicorn, which is always something that happens to me, which is either weird communication with the client or like random shit, which is still like it's still real. So
Like a mini, like Casey Neistat vlog. I'm feeling like Firefly. It's like just something little thing that happened this week, right?
Yes, exactly.
You know, you might have started something. Because I'm getting excited. And I was like, I can do that. Now that you put it like that, it's like I can do that.
Exactly, yeah, and you can do that. It's just you need to think about like a small modular, exactly, modular pieces that you could put together, and suddenly it's a long newsletter, and that's it. That's it, and it's very simple. I don't spend more than an hour on that like writing every week, and I think you can spend an hour for writing. Like
100%. I think it's more the mental energy of thinking of a topic and whatnot. But the way you said it, I don't have to do that. Like, for example, I spend an hour a day probably on my LinkedIn content and I enjoy it. But it's because I'm like, I have to release something tomorrow and I'll think of a lesson and I'll say it. But for some reason, when I look at an email, I'm like, fuck, I'm going to send this to 1,000 people. It's got to be good. And then I was like, all right, let me just announce a podcast and see you later.
Yeah, and look, I pushed Felix to do this, and now he's on like 5,000 subscribers in less than 2 months because I was like,
that's fantastic. Is
like,
that on Substack?
There's Substack and LinkedIn as well. I was like, man,
what do you think about? I have Kit, which is an email newsletter. I don't have a Substack, and I haven't touched LinkedIn newsletter. What do you think?
You should do both. I do both, and I have 12.5 thousand on Substack and it's almost 8,000 on LinkedIn. It's
why the both? What's the difference?
It's a different audience. It's different. It's the same content but different audience. I post on Substack on Monday and the same thing on Thursday on LinkedIn. Grows like crazy. Easy as that.
So you just see it as like YouTube versus a different platform,
exactly, right? Exactly. So that's why we do YouTube on 2.5 Gamers and Spotify and Apple. It's just different platform.
Naturally.
Yeah. So it's easy as that. It's like, again, like you just need the initial push and just to figure out the structure, and this is exactly what I said to Felix.
Would you recommend not to batch then? I think what you said, I'm guessing you don't batch that much.
No,
week to week, just put it on your diary. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm excited now. I'm gonna do it. That's gonna be fun.
It's every week. It's don't worry. Like the main reason how and why this works is the consistency. It's really like when we talked about the shortcuts and everything, like how, like what's the like kind of the way how I do stuff, it's just consistency. And you said like you try to rehearse, you start, you don't stop. Same thing here, like in business, you start and you do it until it's good. That's it. I mean, that's pretty
I'm gonna do it. I'm buzzing. I'm actually. I don't know why, but the way you said it, I was like, I'm ready now. I'm good. Yeah. I'm gonna call Ali Faha because we started that newsletter.
I know. Yeah. We both met at the GDCY last year. It's just it's a small world. No. It's a small world.
Perfect. So, just for the last few minutes of the podcast, I've got a few questions I've prepared, which I'm curious. This is about client delivery. So, you said once, I treat UA budgets like my own money. Why did you say that?
Because it's very important. Because if you spend your own money, you need them to get back. I mean, there's an investment. So it's your own money, and you invested money for some reason, and the reason is you need to see the money back. And some UA managers, they don't treat it as they're all like, like these big companies, nobody cares. Well, everybody cares, and you should care as well. And that's the biggest kind of difference between a UA manager and a good UA manager, because UA manager, you use budgets randomly. You have a goal, that's fine, that's it. But the good UA manager see like the business perspective and the business point of like how much money you can spend, where it's gonna be back, and what is the payback for all this UA stuff. It has impact on the actual business, and it's very, very important. So that's why I treat it as my own money, because I was in that position, and every time I invested something and I got it back, I reinvested, and that's how I could see my business grow in the previous like non-gaming era.
I think it was the e-commerce, right?
Yeah, we had an e-commerce brand. It was an interesting.
When we're bringing it back, add a new vertical to the business. Scalable.
Very scalable. I know. It's just it's not gonna be exactly helping me to focus on gaming anymore. So I was on.
What if you did software? You said you're building something, right?
I do have a tool. Yeah, I do have the playable tool, which is growing, and I can see that.
You charge for it?
There's monthly fee, and it's kind of exporting playables from videos. So now it's on like 4K monthly recurring revenue, and it started
How many
obviously.
users can I ask?
Nah, I can check. It's like kind of like a couple hundred users. We started pushing this in November. Well, pushing it started talking about it in November, and now, I mean, a
Is
couple
most
months.
the subscribers from the Substack
Not really.
or?
No, no, no. I
Oh
actually, I
wow,
don't really, I don't. I pushed it maybe like twice or three times on my Substack and talked about it very briefly on the podcast. So not a big push for me yet. So it's like kind of growing nicely, word of
is that
mouth.
because you want to improve the product?
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Nice.
I want to
Wow.
improve the product to put to the point where I can say, okay, let's go. Which I'm kind of like doing all these like mentions here and there, and every time I do that, like it's definitely goes up.
Oh, I mean, boom. I mean, they are massive companies, right? Like you see them exhibiting at conferences, and they literally, essentially, just have a tool that helps UA go a bit faster. And when I think of it like that, it's like that's not far off from a custom GBT at some point.
Yeah,
It's not
that's
too
true.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, of course. Oh, that's gonna be quite interesting to see like how I can grow that with the team that I have on that side. So it's exciting.
Yeah, yeah. Hit me up because the BD strategy for that, like, there's some new tools which you might be interested in. Like, there's some stuff we're doing here where we can now scrape all the engagement of the gaming industry on LinkedIn each week. So anyone who's liked your post or the top posters, and then put that into a spreadsheet, and then run custom prompts to check their website to see if they serve the certain industry. Are they a decision maker? And then are they relevant for X tool? And then enrich the data and then say, hey, either I saw you, but even if you don't want to automate a message, you can automate a connection request to them. Like, the amount of time people spend building lists of people who are either not still working there or they like not actually active. Like, we've really pivoted over the last few months to go from building lists based on job titles to building it based on like signal. Like, are they online right now? Like little stuff like that for the tool that if you haven't mentioned it and it has decent retention, like yeah, like you can. This is the best time to start a solo business. It honestly is incredible.
Yes, 100%. I mean, everybody, I mean, it's really hard at the same time, but I mean, like the tools and the possibilities you have these days, it's just insane. It's insane. You just need to, you just need to use your brain. That's it. That's it. That's it, seriously it. And I always say this: when you don't have enough budget, or you are kind of not struggling, but you are in like a push to the edge, that's where all the magic happens, because then you need to be very creative and very efficient. And if you're running out of money, you don't have big budgets, you need to create something that really is out of the box.
That happened to me 3 weeks ago. It was very weird. So I went to like 4 conferences in a row, and I brought my team. And then I must have miscalculated. I was like, oh, I'm going to run out of money in the business. So I lent 5K to the business, and then I audited all the finances. I was like, okay, how do I make some money? And then what I did was I used to position my coaching as like 2 months of LinkedIn coaching. And then I was like, okay, how do I make this worth more? And I was like, let me give them, let me do some of the ghostwriting work where I basically, here's your target audience, here's how we're going to reach them, here's now your discovery call is going to be like this. So I made him a Google Doc, and then I gave him all my best resources to like write content and whatnot. And I said, let me install this system for 2.5K, and you have access to me for 2 months. And I sold like 3 of those. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like,
Hello.
that wouldn't have happened if I
Yeah,
didn't run
exactly.
out of
Yeah,
money, which is
exactly.
crazy, which is insane to me because like my main offer right now, like I'll be transparent, it's like 3K a month. But all these people who couldn't afford that, they could have afforded 2.5K for something that is very valuable, but it takes a lot less time. And also, I don't have to pay anyone to help me. So yeah, definitely, when you have nothing to lose, the most innovation happens. And right now, oh my god, I've seen it. I've spoken to these people at podcasts where when a company gets to a certain size, and you could probably speak on this, it's almost like a disincentive to become more efficient sometimes because they might be afraid to lose their job or what have you. So if you don't have that, you are gonna. It's not like 2x. Like the stuff that we found, I know for a fact a business developer out there is going to a conference and checking who should I message. It's like, bro, we can scrape meet to match right now and just get that in a spreadsheet. But you don't. But you're not looking for that because you don't have that incentive. So if you, yeah, just You can see how excited I'm getting. It's like the best time. Like if you just solo and you have expertise, like you can monetize it.
Oh yeah, 100%. And you should monetize it. It's just people are sometimes either afraid to ask for money, or some people are just allergic to money. Honestly, and I don't think like, well, on the other hand, I don't think money is like the best motivation, but it should be something else. Motivation, if the motivation is like earn as much money as you can in the world, it's like that's wrong in my opinion.
And I think you also tend to make less money when you do that
Exactly.
because
you
you're
make
not
you make
aligned
wrong
with the
decisions.
person you're helping.
Yeah, wrong
Hmm.
decisions always, because every decision is always tied to make more money or money, and eventually in the long run it doesn't pay off. It just doesn't.
You either burn the market, I've noticed, or you burn yourself. Like you're doing something that isn't aligned with yourself. And I think I just want to commend that what you've done. Like I can really see like you could have went a different way by chasing bigger number, and definitely in like what you're doing right now, you've got such a good foundation to either be with that tool and also growing the content side. So yeah, I just want to commend the steps that you made, man.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Wasn't easy, and but like nothing is easy in life. Especially life is not easy, but that's how it should be. That's how it should be.
Yeah, if life was easy, then opportunity wouldn't be there, right? Like if this was easy for everyone, but yeah, amazing. Anything that you want to leave that you haven't covered today for anyone listening to this who's looking to become a consultant?
Yeah. Besides, don't do it.
Why are you being cheeky, or is there a reason
No,
you're
no,
saying
no,
don't
no.
do it?
No. I mean, because it's very hard, and people still don't really understand like how hard it is. And it's like, oh, everybody can be a consultant. Of course, go and try, and see if that sticks. Because I see a lot of consultants these days, and they do it, and then suddenly after 3 months of trying, they just get a full-time employment at some other company.
Do you
Which,
think they struggle with getting the clients or something
yeah,
else?
it's yeah, of course. I mean, of course, like because everything that we just discussed, it's very hard to get trust. And if you don't, I mean, obviously, if you know what you're doing and your work is good, I mean, that's 50% of the success. But still, you still need to speak to those people, and it's very hard to find them, and it's very hard for them to actually trust if you are a good UA consultant or not. Even if you work with different companies before and whatever big names you have in the kind of resume, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing if you work with big companies and then you kind of work with small team. It's like, hey, it's a lot of work, and it's different type of work. That's the thing. Like nobody will do it for you, and you don't have all the predictions. You need to do manual stuff. Suddenly, it's like, oh, wait a second, this is not what I did before. So
I think it's a combination of constantly learning, but also you literally not being afraid. And also, some people I think just do not understand the volume it takes to have conversations. Like when I tell someone, like if you send 100 connections a week, that's 400 people a month. If you have a good profile, 30% will accept. So now you got 120 people. And then if you send everyone the best personalized message, gold standard, 20 to 30% positive reply. So now we got 20 or 30 people. And then if you're a master in the DMs, you might get 5 on a call and then close one.
yeah,
So
exactly.
that
Yeah, exactly.
all of the stuff I described is technically free, but then most people send 2 DMs a day or just don't send connections to the right people. So like everything's possible, but I think people maybe underestimate like the amount of volume they need to do, whether it's conferences or building trust.
Yeah, exactly. Because then, like, people always say, "Oh my God, yeah, let's start working together," and then like 10 people say this. So after those 10, you get two on call, or well, at the best, let's say five, like, oh, here's the deck, this is the pricing. Oh, it's too expensive. Fine. Two say, oh, this is good, and then one say, oh, let's work together. And after 1 month, they say, oh, this is not the right time. Let's circle back in 6 months. And then suddenly, like, wait a second, where are all those 10 people? It happens all the time. But if you don't have the pipeline, then that like kind of destroyed the whole business, like right away.
I think people get too excited as well. I've seen it happen where they get verbal yeses, or sometimes I've had this recently. Someone said yes. They said, all good, send the contract. And this was, funny enough, a big business. And then it took 2 months. And I said, hey guys, is this still a priority? No stress. He's like, yes, let me chase it. 1 month later, hey, no pressure, but they haven't said no still. This was 3 months ago. And they said, yeah, still priority. We'll let you know. And I was like, cool. So sometimes people will say yes, and then it's not even a yes. So I think just to back up the point, like you need to have as many conversations as possible.
Yeah, exactly, and that's very challenging and hard, and
Yeah,
that's what
but
people
possible.
don't really. Yeah, 100%
I'm-
possible. Yeah, exactly, 100% possible. Of course, that's why that's where I'm at the moment. I mean, because like things, I mean, things take time. It's hard, but it's everything is possible. You just you just need to believe in it. That's it.
Sweet. Amazing. Matej, what's the best place where people can get in touch with you? Do you have
I think
anything?
LinkedIn or the Substack, which is my surname.substack.com, which is Lancaric, but it's LANCIRC.substack.com. And 2.5 Gamers. So there you go. Easy as that.
Lovely. All the links to that will be in the description. And yeah, everyone, if you're listening to this and you enjoyed it, go to Slack and send it to your colleagues. I'm sure they would enjoy it. Yeah, share it, subscribe. Matej, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.